You know, we've all heard about AI, or as known as artificial intelligence, the good, the bad, and the ugly. When used correctly, there can be significant benefits, including the progress with the fight against Alzheimer's and other dementia-related diseases. Well, I'm very fortunate to have in studio with me Dr. Adrian Noriega. Dr. Noriega is a physician scientist at the Department of Neurology and Neurosurgery at McGill University and the Montreal Neurological Institute Hospital. He also serves as Chief Medical Officer at Perceiv AI, an AI-driven precision medicine company developing a multimodal prognostic platform to forecast disease progression in age-related disorders, focusing on Alzheimer's. His research centers on using precision medicine techniques to predict patient responses to lifestyle interventions aimed at preventing neurodegenerative diseases. Really fascinating stuff. That's why I wanted to bring Dr. Noriega into the studio here for Life Unrehearsed. Dr. Noriega, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
Well, thank you for joining me. You are one busy fella. The last time we talked, you were actually in Sweden at a conference.
I was.
Yeah. Crossed the pond over to Calgary and then back home in Montreal. You are Montreal-based. Very proud to have you here in Montreal leading the way in research and science for Alzheimer's. Now, you are really taking a leadership proactive initiatives regarding AI. It's developing quickly and rapidly. Can you provide us with some of the latest advancements in AI that can help predict and prevent Alzheimer's disease?
Absolutely. So we're really at an exciting time and I would say a turning point in the field of Alzheimer's disease. We are having 2 medications that are approved, not here, but they're coming fast. So for the first time, on top of all of that, artificial intelligence is something that we can apply to help us expand our ability to detect early invisible signs of disease, that is before symptoms appear. So these are signs we can use, for example, AI to combine different modalities. That means, for example, blood-based biomarkers that appear. We can combine it with imaging modalities, with the symptoms. And all of that allows us to have an idea of where an individual is actually going to go in a given period of time. And you could see the applications of all of that we integrate. On top of that, you can integrate genetic markers. So that gives you an idea of what exactly is going to happen to an individual with a very high likelihood of where they're going to go in their brain aging pathway. And that's really a turning point.
It's fascinating, and it's nice to see that some of the benefits of AI is predicting versus normal aging versus, oh no, here's a red flag here. So what would some of the tools that have sharpened our predictive capacity be?
So one of them is the emergence of blood-based biomarkers. Those are biomarkers that you can actually, before we would have to do a lumbar puncture to obtain. Right. Now we can have them just through a blood draw. You have those that allows you to mimic what's going to happen inside the brain and use them as a proxy. You can combine as well digital biomarkers. That means like wearable devices. You might have your Apple Watch. You might have a Fitbit. It gives you an idea of a lot of other markers like walking speed, for example, your sleep patterns. All of that plays a role to actually impact your brain as you age. So you combine all of that with, and you package it with the possibility of using AI. So that gives the AI the capability of having a very, very good understanding of where you're going if you don't change course or given the current course of affairs. And that's a picture that we didn't have a decade or 2 decades ago.
We've had many popular guests on the show. We were talking off the air, Dr. Serge Gauthier, Dr. Moret, and they're always talking about early detection, early prevention, and this gives us the ability to detect Alzheimer's and other dementia-related diseases earlier, and just really interesting stuff. Now, you're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here, and I'm talking with Dr. Noriega. He's a physician scientist at the Department of Neurology and Neurosurgery at McGill University about how AI can help predict and prevent Alzheimer's disease. One of the things that when preparing for the show, I saw something about retinal images with some advancements about how that can predict Alzheimer's. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. So this is a fascinating area, and I hope that it expands more as we can as we grow as we grow into the field. Like not us personally, but the researcher and technology companies. So basically, the retina and the brain actually share a very similar or the same embryologic origin. That means like from conception they share the same origin. So there's a lot of things that the retina can give us as a window into the brain. So you can see, for example, the accumulation of certain neurotoxin proteins in the retina actually would mimic what happens, or you can use it as a proxy of what's happening inside the brain. And you can also see, for example, microbleeds, small brain bleeds, that you can actually like use that retina as a window for what's going on inside the brain. So if there's a number of companies, one in Quebec, another one in Ontario, they're actually at the forefront of that kind of technology, and they're not using anything that your current eye doctor wouldn't be using. So there's a lot of potential for scaling those technology. And you can see a future where actually in that kind of consultation with an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist, you would have really a window into what's happening inside your brain. And that has an enormous potential.
Now, Dr. Noriega, we're quickly running out of time. I'm going to ask you a question that we could probably spend the whole hour talking about. And I know you're going to be back on CJD, Hope for Dementia. Also going to have you on. But we know there's not a cure yet. We're slowly making progress, but we can certainly help prevent the disease in some of our actions. In a minute or less, what are some of the major things we can do to prevent Alzheimer's disease?
So at the moment, we know that 40% of the risk for Alzheimer's disease comes from modifiable risk factors. That means your sleep. You have to protect your sleep. You have to keep active. So those are small things. Control your blood pressure, control the metabolic factors. That means, diabetes. If you have high cholesterol, you have to control those. Else you're going to pay the price later in life. And then an important factor, stay socially active and engaged as you continue, as years pass. You have to keep that social circle present because that's going to keep you cognitively engaged.
Love it. Thank you so much. So very encouraging. It's and Dr. Noriega, I want to mention for our listeners, sometimes, as I mentioned, we've had some great guests here. Montreal is not just one of the leaders in Canada when it comes to research for Alzheimer's and dementia-related diseases. It's one of the leaders worldwide, and you're one of those leaders. So I want to thank you and encourage you. I think we're all relying on our scientists and researchers, and there's some encouragement and a terrible disease. And I appreciate you spreading the good word here.
Thank you, Matt. A pleasure to be here.
All right. That's Dr. Noriega. He's a physician scientist at the Department of Neurology and Neurosurgery at McGill University and the Montreal Neurological Institute Hospital. He also serves as chief medical advisor at Perceiv AI.